Hey guys, welcome back to a new video. This video serves as a part 2 to my video color part 1, where I discuss mostly color theory, color harmony, and I offer some resources to help you choose colors. So if you want to check that out, I'm going to put a card in this video, but you do not have to have seen part 1 to see this video, which is part 2. They're completely separate in terms of color information. So in this video, I'm going to be discussing how to color effectively in Procreate. So sharing like time-saving tips to make your creative process run a lot faster and smoother, mostly focusing on masks in Procreate and the different types of masks that are available to you. And I also briefly touch on fill and reference and some small little hacks that people don't really know about in Procreate. So let's get started. Oh, first of all, if you do enjoy this video, do not forget to like and subscribe, as this really does help the channel grow and it is greatly appreciated. I can't tell you how much I appreciate it. And you can follow me on social media at @DadaPurple on both Twitter and Instagram, and let's get started. So for this tutorial, I'm going to be using my current icon to illustrate what I mean. So first, let's begin with fill. If you've ever wondered how to quickly fill in a drawing without actually coloring it in like you would traditionally, you can use the drag and drop stroke paint bucket tool feature. So provided that you have closed lines in your line art, you can use the drag and drop feature. So to drag and drop, press and hold onto the colors button at the top right hand corner of the screen, drag it to where you would like to place color, and drop it by letting your finger or pen off the screen. To switch back to your previous color, press on the colors button until it changes to the previous color and then let go. To bring the color palette along with you as you draw, like maybe you want it to be on the other side of the screen, or you want it to be closer to the object that you're currently coloring. Tap on the colors button to open up the colors menu. At the top of the colors menu, there's a light gray bar. Tap on that bar and drag and place the panel wherever you want. Now, what if you didn't want to fill in your line art directly? Like, there are many reasons a person would not want to do this. Like one, it can be very destructive in the sense that if you do change your mind and you like, say, prefer to leave your drawing colorless, or want to change the color of your drawing, or actually just want to go lineless, these supposed to be easy tasks can all prove to be difficult when you're working with your line art and colors on the same layer. So now you have your line art on one layer and your colors on another layer, but you still want the ease and effectiveness of dragging and dropping. So here's what you can do. Tap on your line art layer and set it to reference. What this does is that when you move to a new layer, whatever layer you're now on acts in reference to the reference layer. Let me show you what I mean. So I tap on my line art, set it to reference, go over to a new layer and drag and drop. Now by doing this, the art is not destructive, everything is separate. I can easily make changes to either my colors or my line art without one affecting the other, but at the same time, I've achieved coloring in a much faster fashion. So this comes really handy when you're working on giant illustration pieces, comics, and animations. I actually use this all the time when I'm doing animations. I actually explained this tip in my video, how to ink in color in Procreate animation. So if that is a topic that interests you, do check that out. I'm going to put the card in the video as well as in the description box below. Now, moving on to masks. So the best way I could think to explain mask is painting in all forms, whether it's painting like an art piece on paper, or painting a wall, or painting your nails. So like when you're painting a wall, you want the paint to remain on the wall and not touch things that are not the wall, like a light switch, or the borders of a door, or like a picture frame that's nailed to the wall. So what you're gonna do is you're gonna put some masking tape or some sort of cover up to cover up these objects so that the paint stays within the wall and does not go outside or go onto what is not the wall. That is how masks work in real life and in Procreate. They work so that what you're drawing or painting remains in the confines or boundary of the object in question, whether it is a wall or your nail or what is currently present on the layer. So there are 3 types of mask in Procreate: alpha lock, clipping mask, and layer mask, and I'll now discuss each one in turn. So alpha lock. The alpha lock is a mask, so it does what I have just explained a mask does. It sets a boundary where you cannot draw or paint on anything outside of what is already present on that layer. So it essentially locks, alpha lock, locks. It essentially locks you into only being able to draw or paint on what already exists on that layer. I always think it's better to show than tell, so I'm going to give an example. For example, here is my icon in flat colors. So on the finished version of my drawing, I gave the mermaid a white stripe of hair just to show some shape. So I can achieve this white stripe by tapping on my line art layer, selecting alpha lock, and then coloring in the white line without fear of spilling over or spilling out of the boundary of what already exists on that layer. So I could also use alpha lock on my color layer of clothing. If I wanted to add some patterns or a cute design, I just set the layer to alpha lock and create my patterns or add my design. So I recommend using an alpha lock for when you're locked into your design decisions. So if you're set with your design decisions, you don't see a time where you're gonna change your idea or where you might want to go back to what existed previously, I recommend using alpha lock. But if you do see yourself wanting to change your mind later on, or you do not want to have permanently made a change to the base design or the base color, the base line art, I would suggest using clipping masks. Before I proceed, I just wanted to let you know that if you are enjoying this video, give it a like and subscribe. It really does help the channel. I really do appreciate it, like a whole lot. So thank you very much. All right, moving on to clipping mask. Clipping mask. Now, what is clipping mask? Clipping mask. Clipping mask is a pretty. Sorry, I'm so sorry. What is a clipping mask? A clipping mask is a pretty similar thing to an alpha lock. The difference being that all the changes happen on a separate layer but are linked to the main layer like a clip. So create a new layer above your art, tap on it and select clipping mask. As you can see, it then creates a link between the 2 layers. For example, I'm going to create a clipping mask above my skin color layer, and now I'm going to take a purple color to use as a shade and simply add some shadows. This is really convenient and my preferred mask because it allows you to make changes without permanently affecting the base layer. It also allows you to apply different blend modes to the changes being made. So I can set my clipping mask to multiply and turn down the opacity for a much better look. I can even decide to set the clipping mask layer to alpha lock and make alterations to my clipping mask. So a mask within a mask, inception. So if I set my clipping mask layer to alpha lock, I can paint over the clipping mask. I recommend using a clipping mask as often as you can instead of an alpha lock. It's a very safe and convenient way to work. The only problem that I have with the clipping mask, and the one thing I believe that the alpha lock has above the clipping mask, is that the clipping mask adds to your layer count. So when you're doing alpha lock, everything happens on the same layer. So you're not really adding new layers to the piece. But when you're doing clipping mask, you're creating a new layer essentially. And it adds to your layer count. So if you're working on a canvas size that is quite large and doesn't allow you to have a lot of layers to work with, you can find this to be pretty annoying, pretty inconvenient. But if you're working on like a file size of like maybe A4, A5, and anything below, even A3 will be okay. It should be fine. Like I don't think you're gonna need to use all 29 layers that come with A4. So you should be fine. It's a really great way to work because it allows me to keep my base layer unedited, unharmed, and intact if I ever want to make any changes in the future. Now, the last mask we'll be handling is the layer mask. So to access layer mask, tap on the layer of choice and select layer mask. Layer masks work a little different than after lock and clipping mask. With layer mask, you're pretty much deciding what is hidden or shown on the base layer. So layer masks work with whites, blacks, and varying shades of gray. White is to show, black is to hide, and shades of gray for different levels of transparency or opacity. So I'm going to give an example right now. If I wanted my character to have a gap in her hand, but I don't want to erase that part permanently, because I might change my mind later on, I might want to go back. What I can do is turn on the layer mask, and as I said, white is to show, black is to hide, and we want to hide right now. So we take the color black, then the pen of our choice, and we color it in. If we use white, it comes back, and if we use gray, it changes the opacity. So I'm going to use gray on her tail real quick to change the opacity. And now we've made these changes without affecting our original work. So if I ever want to go back, I can just deselect all these masks and I can go back to where I started from and start anew. Okay, so that is it for color part 2. I hope you found this video very informative and enjoyable. In the last and final video on color, which I'm hoping to get out at least in August, we'll be discussing color adjustment features like hue, saturation, color balance, and curves. But until then, well, onto my next video, be safe, be happy, take care of yourself, and have a wonderful life. Oh, don't forget, like and subscribe. Okay, bye.